My name is Lily. Please listen to this story carefully. Do not miss any part. This story is very special. It will touch your heart, make you feel deep emotions, and in the end, you will understand something beautiful about life. One morning, I woke up early and went for a walk. The air was cool, and the sun was just rising. The sky was soft pink and orange. Birds were singing, and everything felt peaceful. As I walked through the park, I saw something that made me stop. A little girl, around 6 years old, was sitting alone on a bench. She wore a pink dress that was too small for her, and her shoes had holes. She was holding a small, old teddy bear. The bear's fur was torn in some places, but she held it close like it was the most precious thing in the world. I walked over and smiled. "Hello," I said gently. "Are you waiting for someone?" The girl looked at me with big, brown eyes. She shook her head. "No, I'm just sitting here." Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. I sat down beside her. "What is your teddy bear's name?" I asked. She smiled a little. "His name is Timmy. My daddy gave him to me." I looked at the worn-out bear and asked, "Do you play with Timmy every day?" The little girl nodded. "Yes. When I feel sad, Timmy makes me feel better. He never leaves me." I felt something in my chest, a soft ache. This little girl seemed so sweet, but something about her words made me feel she was carrying sadness. "Where is your daddy now?" I asked softly. She lowered her eyes and hugged Timmy tightly. "Daddy is in the sky now," she whispered. My heart sank. I suddenly understood. Her father was gone. "I'm so sorry," I said. "Do you miss him?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. Daddy used to take me to the park. He used to push me on the swing. He made funny voices when he read stories. But now, it's just me and Timmy." I swallowed hard. This tiny child was carrying so much pain, yet she was still smiling, still holding onto love. I gently touched her small hand. "Do you know something?" I said softly. "Your daddy is still with you." She looked up at me with wide eyes. "He is." I smiled and pointed at her heart. "Yes, right here, in your heart. When you remember him, when you smile about the stories he told you, he is with you. Every time you laugh, he is smiling with you. He never really left." The girl's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. She pressed her hand to her chest. "So, Daddy is in my heart." I nodded. "Yes, always." The girl held Timmy close and closed her eyes. "I feel him now," she whispered. I sat there quietly, watching her. She was so small, but she was brave. She was holding onto love, even when life had been so unfair to her. After a while, she opened her eyes and smiled at me. "Thank you," she said. "I think Daddy sent you to tell me that." Her words made my throat tighten. I held her hand and smiled back. Maybe he did. Before I left, I bought her a small packet of cookies from a shop nearby. She took them with both hands and said, "I will share these with Timmy. Thank you for being kind." I walked away slowly, but I kept looking back. I saw her sitting on the bench, holding Timmy, smiling softly. She looked so small, but her heart was so big. That night, I lay in bed and thought about the little girl. Her simple words kept playing in my mind. I feel him now. She taught me something that day. Love does not go away. Even when people leave, their love stays with us. It lives in our hearts, in our memories, and in the little things that remind us of them. The next morning, I went back to the park, hoping to see her again, but she was not there. I asked some of the people nearby if they knew her. An old woman who sold flowers told me the girl came to the park often. She likes to sit on the same bench, the woman said. Her father used to bring her here before he passed away, but she always smiles. She says her daddy is watching her from the stars. I felt a lump in my throat. That sweet little girl was so full of love and strength. She carried her father's memory with so much grace. For many days, I kept going to the park, hoping to see her again. And finally, one afternoon, I saw her. She was sitting on the same bench, holding Timmy. I smiled and waved. "Hello." Her face lit up. She jumped off the bench and ran to me. "You're back," she said happily. I knelt down and hugged her. "Of course. I wanted to see you and Timmy again." She held out a small flower. "This is for you," she said. "I picked it for you because you were kind to me." I took the flower and smiled. "Thank you. It's beautiful." We sat down on the bench again. She told me about her day, how she played with her friends and how she talked to Timmy when she felt lonely. She was still so young, but she was already teaching me about strength and love. As the sun began to set, I told her I had to go, but before I left, she looked at me with her big, brown eyes. "Will you come back again?" she asked softly. I smiled and squeezed her hand. "Of course. I will always come back to see you." And I did. Every week, I went to the park. I sat with her, listened to her stories, and sometimes we just watched the sunset together. The little girl, who once sat alone with her teddy bear, now had a friend who cared for her. Over time, she grew taller. She smiled more, and she always carried Timmy with her. One day, she said, "I think Daddy is happy, because I'm happy now." Her words made me smile, but they also made my eyes fill with tears. This little girl had taught me that even when life is hard, love stays. It stays in our hearts, in our memories, and in the people who remind us to smile again. So, my dear listener, if this story touched your heart, let it be a reminder. Life is not always easy. Sometimes we lose people we love, but their love never leaves us. It stays inside us forever. If you believe in the power of love, if you believe in kindness, then like this story and subscribe. More stories like this are waiting for you, stories that will make you feel, think, and love a little more every day. And remember, the smallest act of kindness can bring the biggest happiness. Be that kindness. For Oyu said, continuechat, said, as the seasons changed, so did the little girl. Each time I saw her, she seemed stronger, brighter, and happier. Her hair grew longer, and her smile grew wider. She would run to me every time she saw me, waving with excitement. One day, as we sat on the bench, she rested her head against my arm. The sun was setting, and the sky was painted with shades of gold and pink. The light made her face glow softly, and her eyes looked peaceful. "Do you know what?" she said softly. "What?" I asked, brushing a leaf off her hair. She smiled and whispered, "I don't feel lonely anymore." Her words made my chest tighten. I felt a warm ache in my heart, the kind that makes you want to cry and smile at the same time. I gently touched her cheek. "I am so happy to hear that," I said. She looked down at Timmy, who was still worn out but loved even more. She ran her fingers over the teddy bear's tiny ears and smiled. "Timmy says he is happy too." I laughed softly. "Oh, does Timmy talk to you now?" She giggled and nodded. "Yes, he tells me silly stories and jokes, but mostly, he reminds me that Daddy is still with me." I swallowed hard, trying not to show the tears in my eyes. This child, so small, had the wisdom and heart of someone much older. She had found happiness in her memories, in her imagination, and in the love she carried. As the days went by, I noticed how she began to grow into a beautiful and confident girl. She was making friends with other children in the park. She would laugh loudly as she played, her eyes sparkling with joy. She was no longer the lonely child with the worn-out bear. She was now a little light, spreading warmth wherever she went. One afternoon, I came to the park and found her sitting on the grass with a group of children. They were making small flower crowns. She saw me and waved happily. "Come, come," she called. I walked over and sat down beside her. She placed a flower crown on my head and giggled. "Now you are a flower king," she declared. The other children clapped and laughed. I could not help but smile. It was such a simple moment, yet it felt magical. Seeing her so happy made my heart full. Later, as we sat alone on the bench, she leaned against me and said softly, "You know what?" I smiled. "What?" She looked up at the sky. "I think Daddy is proud of me." I wrapped my arm around her. "I know he is." She closed her eyes and sighed. "I feel him in the wind sometimes. When it touches my face softly, I know it's him saying hello." Her words made me pause. I watched her, this small girl with a heart so big and a soul so full of love. She had learned to find her father in the little things, the wind, the stars, the warmth of the sun. She had turned her pain into love, her sadness into strength. One day, as we sat together, she turned to me and asked, "Will you always be my friend?" Her voice was soft and hopeful. I smiled warmly and took her small hand in mine. "Always," I promised. "No matter where you are or where I am, I will always be your friend." She beamed. "Even when I grow up," I laughed gently. "Even then, when you grow up and become tall and strong, I will still be your friend." She smiled wider and held my hand tightly, as if she never wanted to let go. Years passed. The little girl grew into a young woman. She was still kind, still full of love. She went to school and made many friends. She was always the one who stood by the lonely kids, the one who gave her sandwich to someone who forgot their lunch, the one who stayed behind to help a classmate struggling with homework. I watched her from a distance sometimes, proud of the person she was becoming. She still came to the park now and then, sometimes sitting on the same bench with Timmy, who was now old and faded but still precious. She would look at the sky and smile, as if talking to her father. One day, as I sat beside her on the bench, she turned to me and said, "I am going to college soon." Her eyes were bright but also a little sad. I smiled, though my heart ached. "That's wonderful," I said. "You're going to do great things." She looked at me with teary eyes. "I will miss you." I took her hand and squeezed it gently. "I will miss you too. But no matter where you go, I will always be with you in your heart, just like your daddy." She smiled through her tears. "And you will always be in my heart," she whispered. The day she left for college, she gave me something special, a small, worn-out teddy bear. "Timmy, I want you to have him," she said softly. "He kept me company when I was lonely. Now he will keep you company when you miss me." I held Timmy tightly, feeling the warmth of her love. I could not hold back my tears. She wrapped her arms around me and whispered, "I love you." I hugged her back. "I love you too." As I watched her walk away, I felt proud, sad, and grateful, all at once. She was no longer the little girl on the bench. She was now a strong, brave, and beautiful young woman, ready to take on the world with the same love and kindness she always carried. But in my heart, she would always be the small child with a worn-out teddy bear and a heart full of love. So, my dear listener, if this story touched your heart, let it be a reminder. The people we love never truly leave us. They stay with us in our hearts, in our memories, and in the little things that remind us of them. And if this story made you feel something special, do not forget to like and subscribe, because more beautiful and meaningful stories are waiting for you. Stories that will make you feel, think, and love a little more every day. And remember, kindness, no matter how small, can change someone's life forever. Years passed like petals falling from a flower slowly, softly, and beautifully. The young woman, once the little girl with the worn-out teddy bear, was now all grown up. She was living in another city, studying at college, and chasing her dreams. She would sometimes send me letters. They were always filled with warmth. She wrote about her classes, her new friends, and the small joys she found every day in one letter. She wrote, "I made a new friend today." She was sitting alone in the cafeteria, just like I used to sit on the bench with Timmy. She looked sad, so I sat with her. We talked and laughed. She told me I made her day. It reminded me of the first time you sat beside me. Thank you for teaching me how to be kind. I will never forget it. Her words made my eyes sting with tears. She was now doing for others what I once did for her. She had taken the kindness she received and passed it on. She had become a light in someone else's darkness. Months later, I received another letter. This one was different. It was longer and filled with emotions. She wrote, "Do you know what happened today? I was walking home from my college library when I saw a man sitting on the pavement. He had torn shoes, and his face looked tired. People were walking past him, but no one stopped. But I did. I bought him some food and sat with him. I talked to him. He told me his name was Robert. He had lost his job and had nowhere to go. He was so thankful for the food, but mostly, he was thankful that someone cared enough to talk to him. When I walked away, he smiled and said, 'You made me feel human again.'" I read the letter slowly, feeling every word deeply. She had learned the most beautiful lesson of all, the power of kindness. The same kindness she once received, she was now giving to the world. Time passed, and I grew older. My hair turned gray, and my hands became wrinkled. But my heart was still full of the memories of that little girl and the love she had given me. One morning, I received a surprise. There was a knock at my door. When I opened it, I saw her. She was no longer a little girl. She was now a graceful young woman, standing tall and beautiful. But when she smiled, I saw the same sparkle in her eyes, the same light, the same warmth. Without saying a word, she ran into my arms and hugged me tightly. I held her, feeling tears in my eyes. She was home. We sat down together, just like we used to. She pulled out an old, faded envelope from her bag. "I have something for you," she said softly, handing it to me. I opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a photograph. It was an old picture of her and her father. She was a small child in the photo, sitting on his shoulders, her arms spread wide, laughing with pure joy. Tears filled my eyes as I held the picture. "It's beautiful," I whispered. She smiled warmly. "I wanted you to have it. You kept his memory alive for me. You helped me feel close to him, even when he was gone. And now, I want you to have a part of him too." I stared at the photo, feeling my heart swell with emotion. I could barely speak. She placed her hand over mine and said softly, "You are my family too." Her words made my chest tighten. I squeezed her hand and smiled, though my eyes were blurry with tears. "And you will always be my family," I whispered the next day. We walked to the same park where we first met. We sat on the same bench, under the same big tree. The leaves were golden and red, falling gently in the cool autumn wind. She looked around and smiled softly. "It still feels the same," she said. "Peaceful." I smiled too. "Yes. And do you know what? It will always feel the same, because this place carries memories. It carries love." She nodded and closed her eyes. "I feel him here," she whispered. "Daddy." I reached out and held her hand. "He is here. Always." For a long time, we sat there quietly, listening to the rustling leaves and the soft singing of the birds. There was no need for words. Our hearts were full of memories and love. And then, as the sun began to set, she leaned her head on my shoulder, just like she used to when she was little. "Do you remember when you promised to always be my friend?" she asked softly. I smiled and kissed the top of her head. "Yes, and I always will be." She squeezed my hand. "Even when I'm old and gray." I chuckled softly. "Even then." She smiled. And we sat there as the sky turned from gold to pink and then to a soft, dusky blue. The years had changed us, but one thing remained the same: the bond we shared. It was built with kindness, strengthened with love, and kept alive with memories. And as we sat there in the fading light, I realized something beautiful. Life is not measured by how many years we live. It is measured by how much love we give. It is measured by the moments we create, the kindness we share, and the hearts we touch. So, my dear listener, if this story touched your heart, let it remind you that kindness has no age, no limit, and no end. A small act of love can plant seeds of kindness in someone's heart, seeds that will grow into beautiful memories and strong bonds. And if you believe in the power of love, if you believe in kindness, then like this story and subscribe. More stories like this are waiting for you, stories that will make you feel, think, and love a little more every day. And remember, no matter how much time passes, the love we give stays forever.